Coverage of our Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV is brought to you by the following sponsors. Our presenting sponsor, the Rentschler Flatbread Company, a casual American dining experience with locations in Hudson and on Main Street here in Milford. Rentschler Biopharma, sponsor of our broadcast booth. Rentschler Biopharma transforms innovative ideas into life-saving biopharmaceuticals. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. And Unibank, big bank know-how, community bank attitude, serving the Milford community at their local branch on Prospect Street inside the Shaw's Plaza.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside Pheno Field here in Milford, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you on the call on what is an absolutely sensational spring afternoon into the evening here in Milford. We bring you this coverage live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth as the Milford Scarlet Hawks take the field for their fifth game of this 2025 spring sports season, our first chance to see this varsity boys baseball team in action. And today they take on a Hockomock League crossover rival in the Davenport Division, Canton Bulldogs. Milford comes into action this evening with an overall record of 3-1. They are in a tie for second place in the Kelly Rex Division standings, just behind the Taunton Tigers. The Canton Bulldogs, meanwhile, come in fourth place position in the Davenport Division standings. They are 2-3 overall on the season. It was quite a remarkable year for the Scarlet Hawks last year, a season that saw the team advance all the way to the Division II Final Four. We'll relive some more of the magic from that run through the regular season into the playoffs for this team last year. But a new team on the field this year, some new faces on the varsity roster mixed in with some veterans that have achieved at a very high level with this program. So exciting to see what this team is going to do here in 2025 as the Scarlet Hawks wrap up their warm-up tosses on the field. Quickly, let's bring you the starting lineups for these two teams. We will begin with the visiting Canton Bulldogs. Leading it off is their shortstop, J.T. Norton. Teddy Schumann is the third baseman batting second, with Andrew Gillis, the center fielder, batting third. Brady Gibbons is the first baseman batting cleanup, with Tommy Rose, tonight's starting pitcher, batting fifth. Batting sixth and playing left field is Shane Kelleher, with the designated hitter Grady Carr batting seventh. Daniel Ferrara is the right fielder batting eighth, and in the ninth spot and catching is Liam Connolly. And for the Scarlet Hawks, their starting lineup looks like this. Leading it off in left field is Joe Butler. Tonight's starting pitcher Joey McGee bats second, with Tyler Ballard, the right fielder, batting third. Nick Koch bats cleanup and plays center field, with the first baseman Ian Carter batting fifth. Batting sixth and playing shortstop is Derek Marcolini, with the catcher Ryan Flees batting seventh. Kyle Morin is the third baseman batting eighth, and in the ninth spot is the second baseman Tanner Longacre. So one of those returning veterans for the Scarlet Hawks on the mound, getting the start here tonight. It is Joey McGee. No longer with his older brother Sean as part of this varsity team, as he was one of the impact seniors that graduated from last year's team. But Joey off to a good start this season, and really just a terrific all-around talent. An impact player on the pitcher's mound, defensively in particular at shortstop, and a quality bat in the Scarlet Hawks lineup as well. So the junior ready to get the nod on the hill here tonight. Still plenty of sunshine splashing across the field here at Pheno as we're about to get started. And the first pitch in to J.T. Norton is a swing and a miss for strike one. Norton batting from the right side. Canton in their signature green uniform tops. Milford in their home pinstripe whites. A one pitch misses low to even the count. very little breeze here at Pheno. The American flag out in left center field is quiet. Usually it's a wind tunnel here this early in the season, but almost a summer-like day here today. Quite a contrast. Spring in New England at its finest in the last couple of days. A lot of people in central Massachusetts got inches of snow on Saturday morning, and today here we are in the mid to upper 60s with bright sunshine. But we'll certainly take a day like today as an off-balance swing and a miss. And JT Norton will strike out, the first batter of the game down by way of the K. Good start for Joey McGee. Defensively for the Scarlet Hawks, it is Ryan Flees behind the plate, Kyle Morin at third, Derek Marcolini at short, Tanner Longacre at second, and Ian Carter at first. Left to right in the outfield, Joe Butler, Nick Koch, and Tyler Ballard. One out and the base is empty now as this pitch is fouled away off the bat of Teddy Schumann. Bulldogs a younger roster. Only a couple of seniors on this roster, very junior heavy. Looking to build some success in their program. They did play Milford tough in the final game of the regular season last year. Canton out of a playoff spot, Milford as one of the top teams in D2. Milford was the number 4 seed in the Division II playoffs last year. Pitch to the lefty is in for a strike. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count on the left-handed third baseman Teddy Schumann with Andrew Gillis on deck. Base is empty, one down, just underway in the top of the first. Next pitch is fought off foul. First chance to come down here to Pheno Field this season, and again, could not possibly ask for better weather conditions. May cool off a bit as the sun sets here this evening, but really nothing to complain about. Here's another 1-2 pitch. That misses away. First of a couple of games we've got live for you on Milford TV this week. We'll also have boys volleyball action for you on Wednesday afternoon, an early start time for the boys volleyball club at 3:45 against King Philip. But happy to be live with you across our Milford TV platforms here on this Monday night. 2-2 offering is outside, and so Schumann hanging tough in the at-bat. He's now worked the count full. Chatter rising out of the visitors' dugout on the first base side. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and it's high for ball 4. So a strikeout and a walk here in the top of the first, and that will bring up Andrew Gillis now. Bit of a giveaway in that at bat for McGee. He was well out in front of Schumann, but couldn't put him away. This is already the 4th appearance on the pitcher's mound for Joey McGee this season. His second start came into tonight's action having pitched 9 2/3 innings on the season as he chases Schumann back to first base with a pickoff attempt. Comes in with a record of 1-1, also has a save on the season. And so far has allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, none of them earned. 3 walks to 10 strikeouts. Short lead at first base for Schumann. Another right-hander at the plate in Gillis. And again, McGee really trying to keep Schumann close to that first base bag. Fans still trickling in here at Pheno. Handful of fans around behind home plate and lined up down the first base side towards the outfield. Pitch into Gillis, that drops too low. And so all of a sudden, McGee has lost his feel for the strike zone. Next pitch, and that one is a foul tip into the mitt of Flees. New backstop for this Scarlet Hawks pitching staff this season. after a long run as the varsity catcher for Keith Lee, who graduated this past spring, was a cornerstone of this varsity squad. A little bit of a late break back to the bag that time for Schumann, but he was still able to get back standing up. McGee continues to be highly occupied with the runner aboard at first base, held on by Ian Carter. The pitch to the plate is a dribbler foul, kicking over towards the first base coach. Didn't have a chance to chat with head coach Alex Dion before the game today. Ian Carter, getting the start at first base today, has not yet made an appearance on the pitcher's mound. The only starter remaining from that three-headed monster that Milford had in their rotation last season, along with Damian Carter and Anthony LaPierre. As this ball is carved down the right field line, could be trouble if it stays fair. That is a fair ball. Rounding second base is Schumann. He will head to third. Throw gets back in quickly. That will hold Gillis to a single. Nice play out in right field for Tyler Ballard to get that ball back in a hurry. So it is a single for Gillis. Schumann goes first to third, and now Bulldogs bench gets loud again as this pitch drops in the dirt for ball 4. So Rose, the number 5 hitter, works a walk. It's the second walk allowed by McGee in the inning. So far in a third of an inning, it's a hit on 2 walks, the run scoring on the fielder's choice play. And the Bulldogs now have the bases loaded. Big cut on the first pitch from Shane Kelleher. Sends it to the backstop for strike 1. Bases full of Bulldogs here in the top of the first, as that pitch misses off the outside part of the plate, evening the count at a ball and a strike. To the set, 1-1 pitch. Kelleher lays off, it misses. McGee really trying to nibble at the corners in these last few at-bats, has not been able to locate. Now a fastball that gets past Kelleher's bat. Gillis at third, Gibbons at second, Rose at first for Canton. And a close pitch. Does not get the call. And it's a full count now to Kelleher. Nowhere to put him on the bases. Here comes the payoff, and it's hit hard on the ground to second base. It's scooped there, throw to second, out, relay on to first, is in time. And Milford is able to turn a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Boy, did they need that. Longacre got it started, good turn for Marcolini. And Milford gets out of the bases-loaded jam, only 1 run scored for the Bulldogs in the inning. And so the Scarlet Hawks will now have a chance to take their first swings of the game when we come back next, bottom of the first, as we bring you the coverage live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. And coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company.
Thank you, sir.
Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company, a casual American dining experience, specializing in an all-scratch-made kitchen featuring wood-fired flatbreads, an inviting atmosphere for the whole family to enjoy. You can check them out right here in Milford, right on Main Street, You can also check them out in Hudson, Massachusetts as well. 2 outstanding locations with a delicious spring menu. We just had a staff outing at Rail Trail last week. Enjoyed that spring menu. Highly recommend it. An outstanding spot right here in Milford. We play on now to the bottom half of the first inning. Milford fortunate to have only surrendered 1 run in that top half of the first inning. So 1-0 lead for the Bulldogs as Tommy Rose takes the mound for Canton, facing Joe Butler, Joey McGee, and Tyler Ballard in the inning. Here it is Butler who sends a foul ball down the right field line, deep into that foul territory. No one able to make the grab, so Butler will get another chance. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on the Milford leadoff hitter. Now takes a pitch inside. Butler, 14 at-bats so far on the season, a .214 batting average. Has a double on the season, 2 runs batted in. He's walked twice. Lets that pitch go. And so he works it to a full count. Three-two pitch coming up from the righty. And it's an elevated fastball that gets by Butler. Went after it. First strikeout of the game. The first batter faced by the righty Tommy Rose. So that will bring Joey McGee to the plate. Bit of a rocky top of the first inning on the pitcher's mound, but again, able to minimize the damage in the end. Sees a first pitch strike. Pitch comes up and in to even the count at a ball and a strike. One ball and 2 strikes now. 13 at-bats so far on the season for Joey McGee, off to a hot start offensively. .462 early batting average, 6 hits. Has 1 triple, 3 runs batted in. And takes the pitch on the inside corner for a called strike 3. And judging by the look on McGee's face, might be saying to himself, where was that pitch for me in the top half of this inning? So Rose catches McGee looking. It's 2 up and 2 down, both by way of a K, and now we'll see Tyler Ballard in the number 3 spot, and nobody has been hotter in the Milford lineup to start this season than Tyler Ballard. A .429 batting average, 6 hits. He has 2 doubles, 2 triples. Sends a hot shot here to second base that is held onto by Will Young, who was flexed out of the lineup, only playing defensively here tonight, but he makes the play. So we'll get you more of those Tyler Ballard offensive stats in his next at-bat in the game, because that wraps up a quick bottom of the first inning here for the Scarlet Hawks. They cannot score, so after 1 full inning of play, 1-0 Canton on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Back once again live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, top half of the second inning. And the Bulldogs with a 1-0 lead. And a first pitch strike from Joey McGee into Grady Carr. Bulldogs designated hitter. 7, 8, and 9 hitters up for the Bulldogs here in the second. As the count goes to 1-1, and right now the Bulldogs bench has been a factor, trying to keep Joey McGee uncomfortable in this game. There's a 1-1 pitch, and it's driven out to left field, and it's going to hang up for Joe Butler to make the catch. Hard contact, but an out recorded. Second inning in a row that McGee has retired the leadoff hitter. Now he'll deal with the number 8 man, Daniel Ferrara, playing right field. Bulldogs coming into this game off of a win, 4-2 over the Sharon Eagles at home late last week. Pitch up around the eyes for a ball. It's a 2-3 start to the year for the Bulldogs. They've had some lopsided defeats. As their Ferrara could not hold up on the swing, broke those wrists. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count on the right fielder. Pitch from McGee is a swing and a miss, so I beg your pardon. That was the only 1 strike on the batter. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now. The scoreboard has been malfunctioning here at the field, so I'm trying to rely on getting the balls and strikes from the home plate umpire. So it remains a 2-ball, 2-strike count after that foul ball drifted off into the fans down past the third base dugout. Base is empty, 1 down, top of the second. And this pitch hit hard and foul, out of play. We were out for softball over at Milford High School on Thursday last week. Temperature only getting to around the upper 40s with a much more invasive breeze that made it feel quite chilly for that softball action. Could not be a more polar opposite game here today. A lot of folks out in short sleeves, and why not? Beautiful day. Turning into the evening as this ball is fought off down the third base line. Morin able to skip that throw across the diamond in time for the out. Ferrara retired 5-3 on the grounder. And it's 2 up and 2 down here in the second. Carter, I beg your pardon, McGee would love a get-right inning here. Facing the number 9 man, Liam Connolly. He takes the first pitch too far inside for ball 1. Milford is also coming into action tonight off of a victory. Traveled to Stoughton on Thursday last week and ended up with a 6-inning mercy rule win over Stoughton. 12-1 the final score. Next one on the way to Connolly is lifted in the air, out to right field. And an easy play for Tyler Ballard, who makes the catch. And a much better inning for Joey McGee here in the second. He retires the side in order. And we will move right on to the bottom half of inning number 2. Canton 1, Milford 0. Live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Welcome back into Fino Field. Bottom of the second inning about to get started. Here live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, Nick Koch to lead things off here in the second against Tommy Rose. Koch takes the first pitch outside for ball one. Nick Koch back with the Scarlet Hawks for his senior season, one of the captains on this team. Taps that ball foul at the dish. So nice to see Nick Koch back and healthy. The last time we saw Koch was actually during the Legion baseball season last year. Made a bid for a tremendous diving catch from right field deep into foul territory. Ended up landing awkwardly on his shoulder. Had to come out of that game and then was unable to return for the remainder of the Legion season, but healthy here, and he is always a reliable player. Great speed, great athleticism, clutch bat. Ready to see another pitch here. That's in for a strike. It's a full count now on Koch. Ian Carter to follow. And then Derek Marcolini. Timeout granted by the home plate umpire. Koch digs back in at the plate. And the 3-2. That's in for a called strike three. Nice pitch at the knees to get Koch, and that's already the third strikeout in the game so far for Rose. Two of them looking. And so that brings up Ian Carter. Ian, again, best known throughout his varsity career as a mainstay in the starting rotation. Did not take very many at-bats for the high school team last year, however, did end up finding a groove with the bat during the Legion season. Got red hot with the bat for post 59. Ended up as a really productive middle of the order bat. Bats here with the bases empty and one down in the home half of the second. Lifts this pitch in the air, and that will drift its way out of play. Long hesitation here for Rose with the bases empty. And now the pitch. This is drilled in the air out to center field. Gillis on his horse, but this is going to get over his head and roll into that cavernous center field here at Fino. Extra bases for Ian Carter as he digs for third base, and he will get there standing up with a triple. Drove that ball to straightaway center field, and you could see the reaction from Gillis. Turned right away from home plate, went into the full sprint to try to get to that ball, but it was well out of his reach. And when you can get it over the head of the center fielder here at Fino, it's three bases almost automatically, and a lot of times can turn into an inside the park home run. Instead, now Milford has the tying run at third base with one out. Derek Marcolini now at the plate. And the lefty can't hold up on the swing. He takes strike one. Oh, one delivery is high, pops out of the mitt of Connolly. Stays right around his feet. The defensive alignment for the Bulldogs, it is Liam Connolly behind the plate, Teddy Schumann at third, JT Norton at short, Will Young only playing defensively. He's at second base, and Brady Gibbons at first. Left to right in the outfield, Shane Kelleher, Andrew Gillis, and Daniel Ferrara. As we get a conference now at the pitcher's mound for the Bulldogs. Coach Dion will take the opportunity to chat with his hitter, Marcolini. The head coach for the Canton Bulldogs is David Walsh, and we want to give a sincere thank you to Coach Walsh for providing some roster information, getting us a starting lineup well before even arriving at the field here this afternoon. We really appreciate the opposing coaches when they can help us out, and a shout out to any Bulldogs fans who might be tuned into the coverage here tonight. Happy to have everyone joining us on the live coverage. Mound visit breaks up, and the next pitch to Marcolini is upstairs for a ball. One ball and one strike with the tying run at third. Here's the pitch. That's low, and it skips to the backstop. Here comes Carter to the plate. He will score. And this ball game is tied. I think that would go as a passed ball. The pitch was low, but certainly could have been handled by Conley. Instead, allowed it to skip to the backstop. It kicked all the way over towards the third base side, and Ian Carter had no problem coming around to score. So a new ball game now at 1-1, bases empty. And the pitch to Marcolini has him jackknifing out of the way. Rose with the kick and the pitch. And that's high for ball four. So Rose had retired the first four batters he faced, 3 via the strikeout. But Carter able to make solid contact for the triple, comes home on the pass ball, and now Marcolini with a walk. And so Milford with a speedy runner aboard at first, with still 1 out in the inning, and the catcher Ryan Flees at the plate. And he swings at the first pitch, drives it through the left side of the infield for a base hit. Marcolini will touch second base and hold there. Flees jumping all over that first pitch. Second hit in the game now for Milford. And the go-ahead run in scoring position now for the number 8 hitter, Kyle Morin. Morin shows bunt, pulls the bat back. I believe that was a strike. It was called a strike by the home plate umpire, Coach Dion voicing his disagreement. Coach Dion saying that ball touched the ground. The umpire does not agree. So no balls and 1 strike on Morin. Sophomore in this varsity lineup. And now a late timeout is granted. Canton coaching staff not appreciating that late timeout, forcing Rose out of his windup midway through. Again, Morin shows bunt. That comes in and gets him on the midsection. And so he will head down to first base looking to sacrifice himself. And instead, the hit by pitch is going to load the bases. And right now, the coaching staff pops out of the dugout for Canton. You wonder if the argument here is, did Morin offer at the pitch with the bunt attempt? Appeared to be the argument that Canton was making, but the call will stand. A hit by pitch to Morin gets him to first base, and now Milford has the bases full. Marcolini at third, Flees at first. Morin at, I beg your pardon, Marcolini at third, Flees at second, with Morin at first as the bunt comes down the first base line and fielded quickly. Good charge by Gibbons at first, who was playing in tight, and they're able to get the throw to home for the force play just ahead of Marcolini. So Milford, a big gamble there with the bunt attempt with the bases loaded. Longacre with good bat control, a good candidate to try that with, but was not able to get it done there. So Joe Butler at the plate. Joe Butler at the plate. The bases reloaded. And now a tapper foul. Now a ground ball hit slowly to shortstop. That's going to clank around, and Flees crosses the plate. I think they're going to say that ball might have hit the foot of the runner going from second to third, and that will be the third out of the inning. So kind of a bizarre way that inning unfolded. Milford had the bases loaded, and they end up only getting one run in the inning. So it stays a tied ball game here as we will move on to the third inning. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Top. It is Milford 1, Canton 1. Milford with a squander. Both teams now have squandered bases loaded opportunities in innings where they each settled for a single run. Joey McGee out for his third inning of work. Good live fastball there. A called strike as McGee goes second time through this Bulldogs lineup. JT Norton, the shortstop, leading off this third frame. Takes a pitch down low. So Milford in that second inning, scoring the run on the pass ball, and then had the bases loaded with only one out. They rolled the dice on a bunt play with the number 9-man Longacre. They were able to cut down the runner at home plate, and then Joe Butler hitting a little dribbler to the left side of the infield that kicked off the foot of Kyle Morin. And that ended up serving as the third out of the inning, as Norton's going to wear that pitch from McGee right on the uniform number. Pitch got away from Joey, and Norton will head down to first base on the hit by pitch. Sun setting off in the distance behind the right field side as we come up on 7 o'clock in the evening. Evening baseball here at Pheno Field as McGee's pitches in the dirt, skips away from Fleas, and Norton will quickly head down to second base. Wild pitch, and now the go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out in the inning. Teddy Schumann, the third baseman at the plate. He walked against McGee his last time up, as this pitch also gets away from Fleece. He'll try to snap a throw down to third base, but it's not going to be in time. And right now, JT Norton enjoying a free trip around the bases. Wild pitch gets him to second. Fastball gets him to third, and there are still no outs recorded in the inning. Pitch misses up and away. Schumann taking all the way there, takes a fastball right down the pike. Milford with the infield in all the way around. And so now the second time in this game that we get some frustration over a late timeout call granted at home plate. We saw it happen to Rose in the last half inning. Canton may be getting a little revenge there on McGee, getting a late timeout granted. McGee even a little further along in his windup. Able to pump in a strike. It's a full count on Schumann. Runner leads away from third. Payoff pitch is sent off the home plate umpire. Might have got him right on the face mask, maybe also grazed the shoulder. Another 3-2 pitch now, and this is hit hard to second base. Cannot be fielded cleanly by Longacre, and so his only play is to first base. That is not Tanner Longacre at second. That instead is Joe Butler. And so the run comes in from third base. It was a hard shot. Milford had the infield aligned properly to try to make a play at the plate, but the second baseman could not field that ball cleanly. And so we'll try to get a correct defensive alignment for you, as again, it appears that Joe Butler is now in from left field playing second base. So indeed, it is Butler now at second, and it is Mike McGrath who is in now in left field, as that pitch is in for a called strike 3. So Gillis down on strikes. The bases are empty with 2 down now. It is a 2-1 lead for the Bulldogs, as Brady Gibbons now stands in. So I'm not sure if perhaps on that bunt play Longacre was injured, but he comes out of this game as this ball is lifted in the air out to shallow center field, and Nick Koch will range in to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. But a hit by pitch and some shaky defense allows Canton to grab another run. And so Canton retakes the lead. It is now 2-1. Bottom half of the third inning comes your way next here. Once again, the action live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, and coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Our cameraman for today, Patrick Garapi, finding some four-legged fans here at the ballpark this evening. Great day to take the dogs out to enjoy some baseball here at Pheno Field. A nice true spring day here in Milford. Scarlet Hawks trailing in this game once again. It is 2-1 Canton, as Milford will send batters 2, 3, and 4 to the plate against the Bulldogs starting pitcher Tommy Rose. Misses sky high with that pitch. McGee 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now on McGee. Goes into the windup, this pitch, and this is hit hard. That is well out of the reach of the shortstop and out into left center field. And Joey McGee aboard with a leadoff single. It's the third hit for the Scarlet Hawks this evening. Canton, meanwhile, scoring a run last inning without the benefit of a hit. Getting the hit batter on base. Scoring without the benefit of a hit. In total, Canton has just one hit in this game, but despite that, they have the 2-1 lead. Tyler Ballard now at the plate for the second time today. He hit the ball hard his first time up, but lined out to the second baseman. Fouls this pitch off and out of play. Expect the lights will be coming on here at Pheno Field shortly, with the last rays of sun about to duck below the tree line. Short lead at first base for McGee. Now big secondary lead as Ballard fouls that pitch off towards the backstop, picked up by the on-deck hitter Nick Koch. This Milford crowd looking for some offense to get them engaged. Ballard, the tall right-hander, another big secondary lead as McGee bounces around, maybe caused Rose to rush that throw. It skips away from the catcher, and McGee will have a chance to make his way down to second base on the wild pitch. So you could clearly see there, McGee was a distraction for the pitcher. Meanwhile, it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count for Ballard. Try to get our pitcher camera brightened up in between the next innings, as that pitch is in for a called strike 3. Ballard did not agree. Alex Dion not particularly happy with how the strike zone has gone for his hitters or at times for his starter, Joey McGee. So it's 1 out in the inning. McGee remains at second base now with Koch at the dish. And Nick swings at the first pitch, loops it foul, out of play. Rose ended up facing 7 batters last inning, but again, wriggled his way out of it with only 1 run scoring. Now trying to keep McGee close to the second base bag. Pitch to the plate is hit on a line to the backstop. Koch down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes on Koch. As Rose agrees to the sign. And instead spins off the pitching rubber, and again will look McGee back to the second base bag. McGee commanding all kinds of attention. As this pitch is hit hard, that's going to sneak through the left side for a hit. Coach Dion throws up the stop sign at third base, holding McGee there. Second hit of the inning now. Puts runners at the corners for the Scarlet Hawks with 1 down. So 4 hits now. Milford out hitting Canton 4-1, but trailing in the run column 2-1. An opportunity here for Ian Carter to inject himself in the offense once again. He drove a triple over the center fielder's head in the second inning and came around to score Milford's run. Takes the first pitch down and in for ball 1. See if Koch is on the move at all at first base. Doesn't go here as the pitch is looped foul right over to the on-deck hitter, Derek Marcolini. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And Milford runners at first and third. And an off-speed pitch comes high and tight on Carter. Had to duck out of the way. Two and one now on Carter. And a big swing and a miss. Count evens now at 2. And Carter with that rocket pop looking bat. Levels it over the shoulder. And now the 2-2 pitch runner takes off, and the pitch is swung on and missed. So Koch does eventually steal second base, but Carter is down on strikes. 5th strikeout for Tommy Rose. And so Milford has 2 in scoring position, but there are 2 outs now in the frame. Now look for something out of Derek Marcolini. He walked in his first plate appearance. Takes the first pitch in for strike 1. Long hesitation again for Rose. Now brings it to the plate, swing and a miss. For trailing by a run, they've got 2 in scoring position. Marcolini rolls one foul over to the first base dugout. Coach Walsh tosses it right back to his starter, who's 1 strike away from getting out of this inning. Wind up and the pitch is lifted in the air out to left field. In comes Kelleher, and he is able to make the catch. JT Norton slid out onto the left field grass, but it was the left fielder Kelleher who was able to make the catch on his feet for the out that ends the inning. So Milford strands 2 runners for the 2nd straight inning. Had 2 in scoring position, but cannot score, and so we play on to the 4th inning. It is still Canton 2 and Milford 1 on this coverage of Milford High School varsity baseball here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Two runs, 1 hit, no errors for Canton. 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors for Milford. As we get underway in the top of the 4th inning, bringing you this coverage live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Tim Coet with you on the call, our outstanding Milford TV crew bringing you this coverage tonight. Our director for the game is our Sutton High School intern Hunter Miller, and our camera operator is our intrepid Milford TV staff member, Patrick Garapi. Milford has stranded 4 runners in the last 2 innings. Been frustrated at the plate. Joey McGee back on the hill here, and loud contact from his counterpart, Tommy Rose, but he sends it foul down the left field side. Rose walked in his first plate appearance. Lights coming on here at Fino Field as we're a little after 7 o'clock in the evening. Daylight getting longer and longer each day as we get deeper into the spring season. Next pitch into Rose is fouled away. It's a full count on Rose to start this inning. McGee has had his fair share of deep counts so far on the mound. Here's the payoff pitch. It's high for ball 4. So Rose walks for the 2nd time tonight. 3rd walk issued by McGee. So again, Canton with a base runner aboard without the benefit of a hit. They'll get a hit here as Kelleher swings at the first pitch and drops that ball down just in front of Tyler Ballard out into shallow right field. So there is the Bulldogs' 2nd hit tonight. And they're off to a good start in this 4th inning with runners at first and second base, and Coach Dion now will pop out of the 3rd base dugout to have a chat with McGee. Always tough to see if there is any actioning, loosening for the team in the 3rd base dugout, as the warm-up area is shielded from our viewpoint as we bring you this action from right behind the backstop here at Fino, our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Great partner to us at Milford TV. Rentschler Biopharma is a global contract development and manufacturing organization. They specialize in biopharmaceuticals and advanced therapies. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. Mound visit breaks up. McGee remains in the game. Canton with something brewing here in the top of the fourth. Runners at first and second base, and Grady Carr, the designated hitter, at the plate. He lined out to the left fielder his first time up. Before Carr sees a pitch, it is McGee now trying to keep that runner close at second base. And now Carr shows bunt, sends it out towards the pitcher's mound. McGee took a look at third base, then fires wildly to first. Ball rolls into foul territory down the right field side as Rose will come around from second base to score. And that's the second time in this game that Milford's been victimized with some overthinking on the infield. We saw it from the third baseman Kyle Morin earlier in the game when he double clutched and tried to force a throw to home plate to try to cut down a runner. That was not successful. And again here, McGee with eyes on perhaps cutting down the lead runner at third base, and then spun around and uncorked a wild throw to first. And the runner at first base now takes off for second. He'll get there uncontested. So it'll go as a fielder's choice for Carr. And then an E1 that allows Rose to come around from second base to score. Shane Kelleher, meanwhile, now stands at third base. He is the lead runner with Grady Carr at second base after that stolen base just moments ago. So it is now a 3-1 Canton lead. As this ball is popped up in the air out to right field, Ballard makes the catch, sends a big hopping throw in towards the plate, and now Canton has runners hung up. The runner at second base tagged up and started advancing to third. As now the runner comes home, he will be out. And so Canton running themselves into a tricky situation there. So that ball was not hit very deep out into right field. Ballard got to it quickly. His throw back into the infield took a big hard bounce. But despite that, Kelleher had held up at third base, but then meanwhile, Grady Carr caught not quite paying attention, ended up trying to advance to third. Resulted in an out on the base paths, but now Joey McGee with another wild pitch. And so that will allow Grady Carr to score after an adventurous trip around the bases. It was Kelleher who had been thrown out at the plate, but Carr now comes home on the wild pitch. So the bases are now empty for the Bulldogs. All kinds of moving parts in this half inning as it is Liam Conley at the plate right now with a swing and a miss. It was Daniel Ferrara, the right fielder, who had popped out to right field. And what started that, what ended up going in the books as a double play with the base running miscue. And another pitch misses upstairs. So it's 2 runs home in this inning for Canton. They extend their lead now to 4-1. The pitch into the number 9 hitter is going to miss outside. You have to wonder how much McGee has left in the tank here. He has labored throughout this 3 2/3 innings of work so far. And now He's going to lose the number 9 man on his 4th walk of the game. The lone base runner is at first as Coach Dion comes back out of the dugout. And so right now, McGee still has the ball in his hand. He's going to throw. Not quite sure. Looked like perhaps a warm-up toss, as if Coach Dion was checking to see if McGee was injured, but he just fires it to the catcher before coming off the field. So McGee's day on the mound is done. We'll see if he comes back out into this game defensively. Meanwhile, more artistic shots from our cameraman, catching a plane flying overhead. So it looks like it's going to be Nick Koch coming into this game in relief. So far, no pitches thrown here. As Koch discards the tape on his wrist before he can start making his warm-up tosses. So a pitching change here at Pheno Field after Joey McGee goes the first 3 2/3. Just did not seem to have really solid command in this game. And so right now, still trying to figure out what the defensive alignment will be now as Nick Koch comes in from center field to take over on the pitcher's mound. He'll finally now start making some warm-up tosses. And so now we see Andrew Rivera pop out of the dugout, glove in hand. So he will enter this game into the outfield. We'll see ultimately how Milford sets up their 3 outfielders here as Nick Koch continues to make his warm-up tosses. So we do have the benefit of following along with Milford's game changer. And so we can see that they will insert Rivera into the game in left, with McGrath moving to center. Tyler Ballard will remain in right. And so those I believe will be the only defensive changes, although we just spotted Kyle Morin briefly leave the field. He'll come back out now. So an extended pause here for the pitching change. Again, we're 2 outs deep in the top half of the 4th inning. Joey McGee walking Tommy Rose to open this inning. Then Shane Kelleher with a single. An errant throw from Joey McGee to first base on a grounder by Grady Carr allowed Rose to score the 3rd Canton run of the game. Milford then got an out on the bases, ultimately cutting down Shane Kelleher at the plate. But then Grady Carr was able to come around to score on a wild pitch. So run scoring in self-inflicted ways from these Scarlet Hawks in this inning. An error and a wild pitch helping Canton along to a 4-1 lead. So not a lot of runs scoring in this game courtesy of hits. Milford's run was scored courtesy of a wild pitch back in the second inning. So Koch, the lefty reliever, facing the right-handed hitting JT Norton, the Canton leadoff batter, now up for the third time. He has struck out and has been hit by a pitch so far tonight. And so far, Koch has not been able to find the plate. Good live arm. Trying to locate. As that pitch hits the inside corner, Norton trying to buy the ball for call as he backed out of the way. 3-1. And that pitch misses up and away for ball 4. It's the 5th walk for Milford pitching. 3rd walk of this inning alone. And so the Bulldogs have runners at first and second base. Connolly at second is the responsibility of the starter, Joey McGee. It is actually Kyle Redquest, the courtesy runner at second base. As first pitch swinging, Teddy Schumann sends a fly ball out into shallow left center field. It is out of the reach of McGrath. 1 run is going to score as Schumann will end up at second base, and you have to wonder if that might have been a product of the uneven field turf out in center field. And also McGrath into a new position in center, went into the dive, could not make the catch. It will ultimately go in the books as an RBI double for Teddy Schumann. And now more damage done here as this ball is stung out into left field off the bat of Gillis. This is going to drive 2 runs to the plate as Gillis rumbles his way down to second base. Back-to-back doubles now for the Bulldogs as they put a crooked number on the scoreboard in this inning. A 4-run 4th inning for the Bulldogs as this ball is now driven in the air down the left field line. Will it stay fair? It is a foul ball. Canton teeing off against Nick Koch right now. These hits coming fast and furious. Back-to-back doubles on consecutive pitches. Schumann with an RBI double. Gillis follows up immediately with a 2-run double. It is a 6-1 score now as the runner takes off for third, gets there ahead of the throw. Meanwhile, Brady Gibbons at the plate as Canton has now batted around in this 4th inning. And now drives one out into left field. It's down for a hit. Gillis will trot home. Canton pouring it on in this 4th inning. Their 3rd straight hit. An RBI now for Gibbons, his 2nd of the game. These Milford fans getting restless as right now the catcher tries to calm Koch down. It is now 8-1 Canton as this pitch comes inside and low. And so we saw Joey McGee struggle to find the strike zone at times in this game, Nick Koch has not fared any better. And when he has found the strike zone, he has been hit hard. Pitch misses inside. Gibbons is the lone base runner for Canton right now. He is at first. Gibbons started this inning off with a walk. I beg your pardon, Rose started off this inning with a walk, and he will walk for the second time in this inning, the third time overall in the game. And this inning has been a horror show for the Scarlet Hawks. It continues on now with Shane Kelleher batting, with runners at first and second base. Sends that ball off the end of the bat foul to the backstop. Kelleher bounced into an inning-ending double play in the first inning, singled earlier in this frame. And now sends a line drive back up the middle. That is through for a hit. They will wave Gibbons around from third base. The throw is not in time at the plate. Now the throw down to third is going to get Rose, as he is out trying to advance to third base. And that is finally the third out of this inning. A 7-run inning in total for the Bulldogs. They end up sending 11 batters to the plate. They score 7 times, and they've broken this game wide open. It is now Canton 9 and Milford 1 as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning when we return next here on Milford TV. Well, the complexion of this game has changed quite drastically. Canton now with a 9-1 lead. Now 9 runs on 6 hits with no errors. Milford 1 run on 4 hits with 1 error. It is Ryan Flees, the catcher, leading off the bottom half of the 4th inning. It was just a 2-1 game going into the top half of this 4th inning, but a long inning without a whole lot going right for the Scarlet Hawks, as again they surrender 7 runs on 5 hits in that 4th inning rally for the Bulldogs. Flees will take a look at strike 3. Tommy Rose, after being part of that offensive rally for the Bulldogs with a couple of walks, comes back out after a long break on the pitcher's mound and strikes out the first batter he faces. That's his 6th K in the game. He has pitched well for the most part, had a little bit of a shaky second inning, but was able to dance around a bases loaded jam. Also was able to pitch out of a couple of runners in scoring position in the 3rd inning, and now has a big cushion to work with, as he will now face Mike McGrath. So McGrath batting out of the number 8 spot, with Kyle Morin waiting on deck, so it's possible that we might have given an incorrect lineup when we opened the game. It's possible Coach Dion might have made a tweak to the lineup after he had sent it to me earlier today, so might have added to the confusion of that second inning rally. So it is Kyle Morin right now who is on deck. McGrath, currently the center fielder. He has moved around a couple of different positions in this game. Good take for McGrath. Count is full. The payoff pitch is going to be low for ball 4. It's the second walk in the game for Rose. And so now here is Kyle Morin. A swing and a miss. And so, assuming that our lineup was incorrect the first time around, as that was when things had developed rapidly in that bases loaded opportunity, then it was the number 9 hitter who attempted a bunt that resulted in a force out at home plate. And so that may have been Kyle Morin after all. So I have a feeling there were some Milford viewers screaming at their screens with some incorrect batters being identified during that second inning, so my apologies there. Runner at first base as this pitch misses low. Quick strikeout to open this inning for Rose, and then walking McGrath. Number 9 hitter Morin, he will walk as well, so walks to the 8 and 9 hitters. Not what you want to do as a pitcher when staked to a big lead. Coach Walsh is going to pop out of the dugout here for the Bulldogs, and it looks like he's going to make a pitching change. So at times, Rose was very good. Dealt with some inconsistency. It's kind of been the name of the game for both pitching staffs in this game, but of course, Milford really imploding on the mound in that 4th inning. So Teddy Schumann is going to come in from third base to take over on the pitcher's mound. See what the corresponding defensive move will be here. Again, as we mentioned, we'll have one more game in our Milford TV sports coverage for you on Wednesday of this week, as we will have the boys volleyball team taking on King Philip on Wednesday, a 3:45 start for the varsity squad. And then we will have a breather from our sports coverage during the school vacation week next week, and then we will return again for the final week of April, and we'll have a whole lot of sports action coming up for you at the end of April and through the month of May. And also, as we get deeper into May, for all of our Milford viewers, you can count on live coverage of Milford's town meeting coming up in May. We'll also have coverage of all of the key senior events for the Milford High School class of 2025, including the Dick Corbin Sports Awards, Senior Awards Night, Senior Performance Night, and the 2025 commencement ceremonies. All of that will be live here on our YouTube channel, live on our channels as well. Got plenty coming up overall throughout the spring. We'll also have some musical performances for you. The Claflin Hill Symphony will round out their 25th anniversary season with a concert coming up in a little over a week. GMCC will perform their spring concert as well. So you'll have all of that to look forward to across our Milford TV platforms throughout this spring. But we'll resume action here. Schumann takes over on the mound. Joe Butler at the plate. Pitch misses down and away. So it is Shane Kelleher who comes in from left field to take over at third base. Ferrara moves from right to left. And Tommy Rose now takes over in right field. So those are your corresponding defensive changes. Milford with runners at first and second base, one out, trailing by 8. As that pitch misses for ball 4, it's the third consecutive walk. So Canton's pitching has walked the bases loaded with one down. And it is Andrew Rivera now at the plate. I believe this is Andrew's first at-bat of the season in his first season of varsity baseball. Takes a strike at the knees. So batting out of the number 2 spot, which was previously occupied by Joey McGee. Rivera makes contact here. That ball is through out into right field. One run's going to come in to score. And so when you're clutch, and that's just the situation for a all-around outstanding athlete in Andrew Rivera, who has etched his name into Milford's record books as now the all-time leading scorer for basketball. And now drives in a run here for Milford. A ground ball hit to second base is boxed around by the second baseman, Will Young. They are able to cut down Rivera at second base. As meanwhile, Morin comes in the back door to score. Second Milford run of the inning. So it was Tyler Ballard with that ground ball to second base. He reaches on a fielder's choice. He'll get credited with an RBI. Rivera erased from the base paths at second base. So Milford with runners at the corners, 2 outs in the inning. Nick Koch at the plate. Milford getting a couple of runs back to make it now a 9-3 score. as Koch takes a ball down in the dirt, holds up the stop sign to Butler at third base as that ball did not drift far away from the catcher Connolly. Strike at the knees. Ballard able to advance to second base, so it is two runners in scoring position here for Milford as Koch taps one foul over towards the first base dugout. Fans would love to see Milford climb back into this game. It is a 9-3 score now. As Koch cannot hold up on the swing. They check to the infield umpire. The fans hate the call. Looked like Koch went around from our vantage point. So he goes down on strikes. That will end the inning for Milford. They do score two. They leave two more in scoring position. They've left a total of 6 runners stranded on the base paths through the first 4 innings, and we will head to the 5th now with the score Canton 9, Milford 3. As we bring you this coverage live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Milford will utilize their third pitcher here as we get started in the top of the 5th. It is Max Marin. After Nick Koch pitched just a third of an inning of relief. Did not go great for Koch tonight. And so Marin facing Grady Carr to start the inning, gets a pop-up on the first pitch into foul ground on the third base side. Morin is able to make the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out. So the starter, Joey McGee, going the first 3 2/3. He allowed 4 runs on 2 hits, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. Koch in a third of an inning of relief allowed 5 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, did not record a strikeout. And now Marin on here in the 5th, retires Carr on 1 pitch, and now will face Daniel Ferrara, who is now the left fielder. Been a lot of moving parts in this game. If you've been scoring this game at home, it has been a tricky one. So this ball is now popped up out into shallow center field. The second baseman, Butler, backtracks out onto the outfield grass to make the catch. And it's 2 pitches and 2 outs for Marin. That brings up the number 9 hitter, Conley, who has flown out to right, walked and scored a run in this game. This game quickly approaching the 2-hour mark. Has cooled off somewhat now with the sunset, but still overall a very nice evening. Another pitch down and away. 3 balls and no strikes on Conley. Looking to walk for the second time out of the number 9 spot. Here's the 3-0. That is in for a strike. Right-hander Marin back to the set. His 3-1 pitch bounces in. And so Conley will indeed work his second walk of the game. Walks have been a real problem for the Scarlet Hawks pitching staff tonight. That is their 8th walk. Not going to have good results when you're walking that many batters. And so a 2-out base runner turns the lineup over. Runner immediately takes off. A courtesy runner for the catcher. Able to steal second base. Again, that is Kyle Redquest. Picks up the steal. It's the third stolen base. Make it the fourth stolen base of the game for Canton. Yes, that's a good pitch on the inside corner to JT Norton. He struck out in the first inning, was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the third, walked and scored a run in the fourth. Takes a hack at this pitch and loops it foul off towards the Fino parking lot. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on the Canton shortstop. Redquest leading away from second base. The pitch. Chopper hit softly to the right side, charged by Butler at second base. He's able to toss it over to first base just in time to get the runner, and that will retire the side. So a scoreless inning of relief for Max Marin. Remains a 9-3 score. We will travel on to the bottom of the fifth inning when we return next on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is brought to you in part by Unibank. Big bank know-how, community bank attitude. You can check them out at their Milford branch located on Prospect Street inside the Shaw's Plaza. Appreciate Unibank for their support of our Scarlet Hawks Athletics coverage. Milford back to the plate, trailing this game by 6. As Ian Carter swings at this pitch and sends it pretty deep out into center field, but Gillis gets underneath it and is able to make the catch. So Carter is now 1 for 3. Derek Marcolini now will stand in for the third time. He is 0 for 1 officially. He walked in his first plate appearance, then lined out to left field in the third inning. Teddy Schumann came in relief of Tommy Rose last inning. Ended up allowing a hit and a walk. Also collected a strikeout. The 2 runs that Milford scored in the fourth inning were the responsibility of Tommy Rose. As Marcolini hits this pitch high in the air out to left center field. Left fielder and center fielder come together. It is Ferrara who makes the catch. And it's 2 up and 2 down here in the Milford fifth inning. As we take a quick peek at what's coming up on the schedule for the Scarlet Hawks. They'll be at home a little bit later this week on Wednesday to host the King Philip Warriors. That game is expected to get started earlier in the afternoon, around a 4:30 start, as Ryan Flees pops this one out into right field. So all 3 outfielders tested in this inning for Canton, all 3 up to the task. It's a 1-2-3 frame for Schumann. And that finishes up 5 innings now from Fino Field, where the score remains Canton 9 and Milford 3 on this coverage of Milford High School varsity baseball on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. In Milford's first 4 games of the season, their pitching had allowed 1 run or fewer in 3 out of those 4 games. The one anomaly was their lone loss on the season on the road against Attleboro back on April 9th. That was a game that Milford led. They had a multi-run lead late into that game, but Attleboro was able to fight their way back, and they ended up winning it in walk-off fashion in 8 innings. Milford then rebounded from that, allowing just 1 run to the Stoughton Black Knights in their most recent game. That was that 12-1 Mercy Rule win. But this game has been a rough one for the pitching staff, in particular Joey McGee, who allowed 4 runs, Nick Koch, who allowed 5. Max Marin has settled things down here a bit. Pitched a scoreless inning of relief in the 5th, allowing just 1 base runner on a walk. And now faces Teddy Schumann, who is the current pitcher on the Canton side. Lifts a fly ball out into right field. Ballard looks to have it sized up. He makes the catch. And Schumann is retired. Into the top half of the 6th inning now, as we bring you this coverage live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you on the call on this Monday evening. Fastball from Marin misses high as he goes after Andrew Gillis. Notched a big blow in that big 7-run inning for Canton back in the 4th, a 2-run double. He has 2 hits in the game to go along with those 2 runs batted in. Milford has a winning record in the head-to-head matchups with Canton in recent years, but the Bulldogs have had a tendency to play Milford tough here at Fino Field, and in particular, it's quite a number of years ago now, perhaps about 5 or 6 years, we saw the last player to hit a home run completely out of Fino Field in the high school sports season. It was a member of this Canton Bulldogs team. Hit it out to left. Andrew Gillis, meanwhile, works a 1-out walk. It is the 2nd walk surrendered by Marin, as that walk total continues to climb for Milford in this game. Now 9 walks, as now Gibbons is going to get hit by a pitch. And suddenly the Bulldogs have 2 on with 1 out. Bulldogs have done a nice job of really maximizing their run scoring opportunities when they've presented themselves in this game. Despite having 9 runs, Canton only has 6 hits as both runners take off. And Fleece is going to hang on to the baseball, so it's a double steal executed. Gillis gets himself to 3rd. Gibbons down to 2nd. And so now 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Tommy Rose at the plate. 1-0 pitch. That's going to miss low. It skips briefly away from Fleece, but no chance for the runner from 3rd to chance breaking for the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. The count on Tommy Rose. Rose has been very patient at the plate today. He has walked all 3 times he has stepped into the batter's box. Closer pitch that time, but ruled a ball. And that pitch comes inside for ball 4. 4-pitch walk to Rose. And so Marin in some trouble now after retiring the first batter of the inning. A walk, a hit batter, and now another base on balls. And the Bulldogs have them loaded for Shane Kelleher. Shane sends a ground ball to shortstop. They'll flip to second to get the out there. That is all Milford will get. It was hit too slowly to have a real chance at a double play. So they cut down Rose at second base. Kelleher reaches on a force play, and in the back door from third comes Gillis to score the 10th run of the game for Canton. An RBI for Kelleher, as it is now 10-3. Two outs in the inning, runners at the corners for the Bulldogs. And a chance for Grady Carr. Again, Canton remains very aggressive on the bases. That has been the case all day long. Kelleher with a steal of second base. Gibbons is the lead runner at third. Now Kelleher at second base. So once again, it's two in scoring position for Canton. Carr has lined out, reached on a fielder's choice, and fouled out in 3 plate appearances. Three ball, no strike count on Carr, as it is Marin now who has lost his feel for the strike zone. Carr taking all the way, takes strike one. And that pitch is going to miss for ball 4. And so again, an inning where Canton does not have a hit. They've scored a run and now threatening for more with the bases loaded. Ferrara swinging at the first pitch, sends it out to center field, where Nick Koch is able to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Canton does leave the bases loaded. They tack on an additional run to take a 10-3 lead. And that will move us on to the bottom of the 6th inning. That will be next on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Brody Carter getting a pinch hitting appearance in the bottom of the 6th inning. He bats in the number 8 spot that was previously occupied by Mike McGrath. Batters 8, 9, and 1 due up for Milford in the bottom of the 6th. And Carter will take a look at strike 3. Schumann makes quick work of the Milford pinch hitter. His 2nd strikeout since coming into the game. 8 Ks for Canton pitching. 8 strikeouts to 4 walks on the Canton side. Meanwhile, for Milford's pitching, it has been 1 strikeout to 11 walks. Kyle Morin at the plate now for the Hawks. Looking for his first hit. Pops this one straight up right around the pitcher's mound. Schumann wants it, but he will now give way to the third baseman, Grady Carr, who will make the catch. I beg your pardon, that was Kelleher, 44, in from third base to make the catch. So it's 2 up and 2 down, and now Joe Butler jumps all over the first pitch, drives it out into left field for a 2-out single. And so that will give Andrew Rivera a chance to bat for the second time in this game. Took an at-bat in place of Joey McGee in the 4th inning and collected an RBI on a ground ball base hit. Mentioned it when he came up to bat the first time tonight. This is Andrew's first season on this varsity baseball team. An Iron Hawk here in his senior season. Here he'll drive a ball pretty deep out to right field. That's going to be grabbed by Tommy Rose. He was able to run it down for a moment. It looked like it might get over his head, but he was able to reach that glove out and make the catch to deny the potential for extra bases for Rivera. And that will end the bottom of the 6th inning. Milford strands another runner. And so we will move on to the 7th inning here at Pheno Field. It remains Canton 10, Milford 3. On this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Logan Petruska will enter the game on the pitcher's mound for the Scarlet Hawks in the top half of the 7th inning. The 4th pitcher utilized by Coach Dion today. Max Marin had gone the previous 2 innings in relief. Did not allow a hit in his relief appearance, but did walk 4, allowed a run, hit a batter. So now the right-hander Petruska will face batters 9, 1, and 2 in the Canton order, with the Bulldogs up by 7. Liam Conley, the first batter to the plate for Canton. He's been pesky out of the number 9 spot, has walked twice. McGee, Koch, Marin, and Petruska. 4 pitchers in this game for Milford. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now on Connolly. Oh, swing and a miss. Next one on the way from Petruska. That is a swing and a miss. Elevated that pitch, got it past Conley. Just the 2nd strikeout for Milford pitching. I beg your pardon, the 3rd strikeout. McGee had 2 Ks in his outing. And so 1 down now for JT Norton, who takes a pitch high for ball 1. Milford has enjoyed good success in this head-to-head matchup recently, tracking the matchups between Milford and Canton back to the 2018 season. Milford is 6-2 against Canton in that time span. They've won the last 3 consecutive head-to-head meetings, but it'll take a dramatic 7th inning comeback for Milford to keep that winning streak intact against the Bulldogs. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now on Norton. Takes a fastball in for strike 2. Now a ground ball hit on a couple of high bounces to second base. Butler gets the throw over to first base for the out, and Norton went tumbling. A forward roll after tripping over the first base bag. Looks to be all right as he heads back to the dugout. 4-3 on the ground out. 2 outs and the base is empty now in the top of the 7th inning. That brings up Teddy Schumann. He swings at the first pitch, lines it to the opposite field. That will drop in for a base hit. And meanwhile, Rivera taking all kinds of time getting that ball onto the infield, and so that will allow Schumann to advance to second base. That will go as an E7, Milford's second error of the game. So puts a 2-out runner in scoring position for Andrew Gillis. And now Petruska uncorks this pitch, skips to the backstop, and now Schumann will advance to third base. Just feels like this Milford pitching staff has really tightened up every time there's been runners on base tonight. Schumann a lead off of third. 1 ball and no strikes on Gillis. And now that ball comes in towards the feet of Gillis, skips away to the backstop. And Teddy Schumann will score. Back-to-back wild pitches gives Canton their 11th run of the game. This is certainly one that Coach Dion will want to put in the rearview mirror as soon as possible. Just too many walks, too many wild pitches, too many free trips around the bases for these Canton batters all game long. So now 11-3 as Gillis swings with the bases empty, lines it to the backstop. Andrews reached base 3 times in this game, a single, a 2-run double, and a walk. He has scored 2 runs. Next pitch from Petruska is too high. And Gillis is going to walk. And that is walk number 12. So somehow the Bulldogs have 11 runs in this game, and they still have more walks than they do runs. Big cut from Brady Gibbons, sends it foul to the backstop. And now a hard line drive out into left field. Drops in for a base hit. Runner trying to go first to third, and he's able to get there. Meanwhile, Gibbons takes the opportunity to rumble his way down into second base, and Canton continues to take advantage. Milford's been a little bit slow to react. You can see a little bit of inexperience perhaps for Rivera in the outfield. He has been conservative, to say the least, at his approach to these balls out into left. And so again there you saw Canton aware, taking advantage. As Gillis went first to third, Rivera's throw went into third, and that allowed Gibbons to take the extra base. He'll be credited with a single, takes second base on the throw. And so 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And so here is Tommy Rose, who is working on a 4-walk day. Takes a strike here. It's a 1-2 count, with Gillis at third, Gibbons at second. A run home in this inning for Canton to make it an 11-3 score. Trying to do a little more damage here against this Milford pitching staff that has been worn out today. Two balls and 2 strikes now on Rose. And now a pitch in the dirt, takes a hard ricochet over towards the third base dugout. And Gillis will come in from third base to score. Gibbons ends up at third base. It's the 3rd run in this game that Canton has scored off of a wild pitch. As Rose now takes ball 4, and this 7th inning continues on for the Bulldogs. Petruska was able to retire the first 2 batters. Connolly on a strikeout, a ground out from Norton, but since then, a pair of singles, a pair of walks, a couple of wild pitches, and so it is now 12-3. Won't see mercy rules come into play here as we're in the 7th inning. Milford will get their at-bats in the bottom of the 7th regardless. It is Shane Kelleher at the plate now for the Bulldogs, as Petruska struggles to find the zone. Two outs in the 7th. Canton runners at the corners. And a pitch on the inner edge. Wind up and the pitch. Off the end of the bat, foul. Kelleher's been on base 3 times, 2 hits. Up there now with a full count. Rose takes off at first as the pitch misses inside for ball 4. 3 walks now in the inning for Petruska. So every Milford pitcher that has come into this game tonight has walked at least 3 batters. Bases are loaded here for Grady Carr. Takes a called strike at the knees. And now a chopper sent foul over towards the third base dugout, picked up by Coach Dion. It's a no ball, 2 strike count. Petruska trying to find a way to get one past Grady Carr here and end this top of the 7th inning. Here's the 0-2, and it's driven in the air out to left center field. Koch on the move into the left center gap, able to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. 8 batters coming to the plate in that top of the 7th for Canton. They tack a couple of more runs on the scoreboard to carry a 12-3 lead into the bottom of the 7th inning. Last chance for the Scarlet Hawks when we come back next here on Milford TV. Once more, we come to you from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, bottom of the 7th inning. Milford trailing 12-3. It's not been a very sharp game for the Scarlet Hawks all night long. They'll have Tyler Ballard, Nick Koch, and Ian Carter, the 3 batters expected here in the 7th. Ballard with a sharp ground ball wide of third base to get his at-bat started. Facing Teddy Schumann, who has so far pitched an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief. Ballard again down the third base line, and once again a foul ball. Tyler at the plate is 0 for 3. He did drive in a run on a ground out in the 4th inning. Leads the team now with 8 runs batted in, with that RBI included. And an off-balance swing and a miss here. He'll go down on strikes. It's the 3rd K in the relief appearance for Schumann. And so now here is Nick Koch. Nick 1 for 3 tonight, a single, wedge between a couple of strikeouts. Sends a ground ball down the first base side. It's snagged on the backhand by Gibbons. He takes it to the first base bag unassisted. And Milford is down to their last out. Leaves it up to Ian Carter. Had a big hit all the way back in the bottom of the 2nd inning, a triple. Came around to score, which at the time tied this game up at 1. Game would quickly unravel from there for the Scarlet Hawks. As Carter loops a foul and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike on Carter. Overall today, 1 out of 3. Should Carter reach, Derek Marcolini would have a chance in the inning. Carter with the chopper over towards third base. It's fielded by Kelleher. He gets the throw to first base in time for the out. That will bring an end to this ball game. And so Milford really taking it on the chin here tonight. They fall to the Canton Bulldogs by a final score of 12-3. So with the win, the Bulldogs will climb to 500 on the season. They are now 3-3 overall. Milford, with the loss, will fall to 3-2 on the season. So again, the Scarlet Hawks will look to put this one in the rearview mirror as quickly as possible. They'll be back in action here at Pheno Field on Wednesday afternoon to take on the King Philip Warriors. A quick reminder, we will have boys volleyball coverage live for you across our Milford TV platforms on Wednesday. Boys volleyball also taking on KP, that action getting started around 3:45. And so that is when we'll have you covered next. But that's going to wrap things up here at Pheno Field this evening. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew bringing you the coverage here tonight. Our director is Hunter Miller, and our camera operator is Patrick Arapi, and I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 12-3. A big win for the Canton Bulldogs over your Milford Scarlet Hawks. As we bring it to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, this has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.